like this has been a very underachieving season. And you think about having an underachieving season from a different context, in that you're able to carry yourself as champions domestically and to be able to be a winning team in the Champions League, but to fall short like they did today was just absolutely gruesome to endure. When you talk about how Juventus have been without Cristiano Ronaldo has performed in the knockouts so far, and he has lived up to his deal. And you talk about the hard fortune that comes with losing the captain Giorgio Chiellini for both legs. You lose your captain over two legs, and you talk about what a captain means to a club. A captain is the leader and vocal part of the club, and Giorgio Chiellini's presence out there, seeing what's in front of the field and carrying out the attack in the proper manner, showed that his presence was long awaited. And being without Mario Mandzukic did not help. In the defense, with Leonardo Bonucci and Daniel Rugani was not good enough for this Champions League. It was not good enough. It was not good enough without Giorgio Chiellini, simply enough. We sold Mehdi Benatia to Arabia, over to Qatar, I think it is. And it just did not help at all. It's such a big disappointment here to see this. And unfortunately, even Ronaldo's magic did not meant for something special to happen this year. Like it seems like what I follow along with are just really perfect, perfect storylines. Like, for instance, Indianapolis Colts going from 1-5 to Super Bowl champions. Like that was something. And what makes that pick a ballsy pick was that it was that I went with it before the season started, and they're able to achieve that level of status. And then same thing with Juventus in the quarterfinals, having the advantage at home and all. That Ronaldo magic against Atletico Madrid, it seems like nothing can stop Cristiano Ronaldo this year. And then he falls short to Ajax. There's something going on with Juventus and Ajax. So, from a context in that Juventus beat Ajax in the 1996 Champions League final. And here, I think the Kabbalic interpretation is that Juventus don't win until after they play against Ajax. It just may be the after phase. And you talk about the prior phase in Gematria, in that Juventus are probably not going to win until 23 prior years. And this is a really hard lesson to learn from, because it is Juventus and Gematria that does equal 24. But when I show you here in Pythagorean Gematria that it is Juventus Football Club that equals 64 in simple Gematria. And here's where the prior reference comes into play. Once I get the parentheses up front, of course, because here you see that Juventus Football Club. Once I put the parentheses on, I have like a really weird keyboard here. It was sent over from China. It was one of these weird ones here. But Juventus Football Club that equals 64. This was a 64 Champions League, but it just meant that they weren't going to win until after 64 prior Champions Leagues. And I could talk to you about my 22 Enigma along with my 23 Enigma. It just seems so weird, because when you look back at it, you don't regret anything that comes with it, because uh, you're on the right track with some of the teams out there. Like, I didn't have PSG this year, but in addition to my PSG pick, like, I had another sub prediction of the fact that, Juventus were going to win the Champions League first before PSG, and I still believe that. So I'm still going to stick with that, and that's something that we'd have to wait and see after. And it just seems like the Pythagorean gematria reference of Juventus applies to what's going to happen with the club. I truly believe that. I think that's the case in what we see happening here with the results of the Champions League in next season. That may be the case. I think it is the case because here's the thing, that it seemed like history was too perfect here in this sequence, that Bonanno was going to return to Lisbon, and he was going back to his place where he played with Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. He won the Champions League with Real Madrid at Lisbon, Portugal. That's where Ronaldo won his first Champions League with Real Madrid, and it seemed like it was too perfect, and that the Champions League being at Madrid was the perfect site for Cristiano Ronaldo to win the Champions League this year. It's just probably the 64 prior reference. Turkey, Ukraine. Ronaldo won the Champions League at Ukraine. He won at a similar range geographically already in the Champions League. Liverpool traveled to Turkey in 2005 as well. And that's really interesting because Liverpool played against an Italian team in 2005. And Juventus are an Italian team. And they played over, AC Milan played at Turkey in that Champions League final. So the Italian team would end up reaching Turkey in the next final if history proves this to be correct. That is what we see with that prior result. It's just a matter of timing. What can you say? Because when we see DeMarcus Cousins out for the playoffs, we see how the Houston Rockets are, then that's just proving that my NBA picks are the best. But every other league, I just happen to fall a little too short. But you know what's ironic in all this? Is that I swear that I didn't place all my money on the Champions League this year. And this is all seriousness. Like, I didn't even place any futures bets on the Champions League. Now, this is the truth here because I am heavily invested in the Houston Rockets pick. I can tell you the truth about that right now. And I can tell you this up front, that the Houston Rockets are the most important one because that's where I made my huge investment in, was the Houston Rockets. If I swore on my life on a pick, okay, it would be the Houston Rockets. And granted, this is over Juventus. As much as I thought that they were going to win the Champions League in their 23rd season this year, they're just a year off. They're just a year off on the Champions League. It's probably after 23 prior Champions Leagues. 23 prior Champions Leagues. And even one simple geometric reference of Juventus Football Club and Pythagorean gematria may be the key to all of this. Pointing it down to the most concrete of details, this is one of them. This is one of them. I generally believe that I think there's one simple reference in. Here's the thing, is that they may line things up to be perfect in different year sequences. Like, for instance, in simple gematria, it is fino alla fine until the end that equals 104, and it is n equals 23 in Gematria. That's where we get the 23 a year Champions League drought into play. And there's 104 weeks in between 6-1 the first, and then June the 2nd, 2017, the year that he lost the Champions League final, and June the 1st of this year. He's an absolute failure. Allegri is a complete failure because things did not work out well. And I don't know the powers that be enough to be able to see what happened over the second leg, because it seemed like they should have won the second leg, and then Giorgio Chiellini happens to not play against Ajax in both legs, the captain of the team, because he is the captain of the team. He is the captain of his football club. I'm going to wear the jersey. It's the captain of the football club, Giorgio Chiellini. I'm wearing the Giorgio Chiellini jersey right now. He's the captain of the football club, and he did not play over 2 legs. And we know how important it is to have your best defender out there defending Leeds. Twice, Juventus did not defend against Leeds. Giorgio Chiellini was missing from the 2015 Champions League final. I hope this is not a sequence of bad fortune for Giorgio Chiellini. But here's the thing for 2019-20 in that particular Champions League. I think Juventus will play against Bayern Munich, believe it or not, for next year's Champions League. 2019-20 does add up to 59, and it is until the end that equals 59 in Gematria. So that's what's happening for 2019-2020. And it is Bayern that equals 25. I think Juventus are going to play against Bayern, if you ask me, if they were to play in the first leg of next year's Champions League. And that is a team that Ronaldo owns perfectly in the 65th edition of the Champions League. And remember, Paulo, I think equals 65. I think that is the key. And Forza Paulo Dybala, okay. This manager needs to go. Paulo equals 65 and 20. That is going to be his year. I am not losing faith in Paulo Dybala at all. We need a new manager. I think that is the key to handling Paulo Dybala. This was an absolute disgrace. This was an absolute disgrace on the way that Paulo Dybala has been used all fucking season. I'm sick and tired of this rubbish. Why can't you play Paulo Dybala in a false 9 central playing role out there in the attack? This is an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace to see this. I can't stand it. I can't stand it a lot. Why is it that we have to wait for another year for this? This is an absolute disgrace. We beat Atletico the way we did. Ronaldo's carrying the team. This is an absolute disgrace. I don't care if the captain was not out. We should beat Ajax even with the current squad that we have. It's an absolute disgrace. I do not care who gets out there. This was an absolute disgrace. Fine, we have to wait another year, okay? That is the case. That is the case. But to wait another year to win the Champions League. Ronaldo is not going to return to Madrid like he did when he went back to his home place of Lisbon, where he played with Sporting CF of Portugal. Sporting Lisbon. He won the Champions League at Lisbon. That's why I thought history was on Ronaldo's side for this year over at Madrid. Simply enough. That's what I thought was the case. It could just be until the prior or the after sequence. That's probably the key to this work, and it's to continue to stick with it and right along with it. It's a good thing that we can document history and we can see what happens with some of these bits. And we can see what works and we can see what doesn't work. That is the key to taking the lessons applied to Gematria. And we can see even how the NBA works. See, the NBA is what I'm perfect on. The NBA is my perfect league. And all the events seem to be lining up with the NBA. It's really weird. That's really the next thing that I'm going to talk about in my next video here after I conclude this sequence. Thanks a lot, everyone. You know, I don't give a fuck about that Champions League this year. Fuck Liverpool. Fuck you. I really don't care if Barcelona wins because I can expect Messi to win another Champions League before Ronaldo wins number 7. That's all I'm guaranteed about. So we'll see about that. And that's what I'm telling you why Barcelona has a great chance of winning. So fuck Liverpool and fuck you guys, and we shall see.